do this. We've got people joining us, so thank you everybody for joining the very first episode of the Carpe Diem conversation, where we'll be having conversations with real life people sharing their real life stories about integrating work and life as one and the massive difference it's made to their life. So that's what we'll be doing. But today, the only guest is moi. So today I will be introducing the Carpe Diem conversation and what it's all about. I will be introducing myself. I know there's a lot of people out there that are on this show and people are joining all the time. So thank you for joining us that know my story, but I'm going to share my story, my backstory, and how integrating work and life has made such a huge, huge difference to my life. But it's okay. It's going to be very much the shortened version. It's not going to be my long story, very much the shortened version. So please don't tune out. Hey, Matthew Stroud. Hi from Fishpan. Saw Matthew today. Thanks, Matt, for joining us. Okay, so today I'll introduce the Carpe Diem conversation, a bit of my backstory, and then I want to share with you one of the major differences and benefits that integrating work and life can have on your life. And then we'll get to sharing where we go from here and the guests that will be joining us next week and the week after and the week after, but introducing next week's guest and why you should join this conversation. So on that point, this is a conversation. It's not a one-way thing. I want you to join this conversation. If you have questions, we will have a Q&A at the end of the show to answer those questions. If I can't get to all of them, I will certainly answer them off air. But there is a bit of a lag with Facebook, with the comments. So please don't wait until the end to ask your questions. If you think of a question, just pop it in the comments and I'll address it at the end of the show. Oh, wow, we've got so many people turning up. Thank you. Hi, Simone. Hi, Kay from Wyndham. Thanks for joining. So without further ado, so we don't take up all of your night, a bit about me, my favorite subject. I actually went into business 20 years ago, nearly to the month or to the day. I went into business September 1999, bought into a couple of travel agencies, knew absolutely nothing about travel at the time, but all the same, I went into travel agencies. From there, I got an opportunity to quote on a conference. Knew absolutely nothing about conferences, but quoted on the conference and scored the conference. So from there, it was very successful. And just by chance, and this is amazing and true story, my very first conference that I ran for Caltex on Hamilton Island was on this day back in 2002. And even more by chance, and not by chance, the theme of that very first conference was Carpe Diem. On my suggestion, and they took it up, the theme for that conference was Carpe Diem. So I've been living the Carpe Diem mantra for many, many years. Anyway, from there, I built that business up, the conference and event management business up. I built it up. I was taking large groups of people all around the world on their events. Some of the events were up to $1 million events. So I built a very, very successful business. The only problem was I was trapped working in that business. I was working 7 days a week. I was working long hours and I had no time to do anything else but the business. So the business became my life and I was deferring doing everything else until later. And then a bit of a life change in life circumstances came along in the form of a marriage breakup. So very, very dark times, of course, but I decided to turn those dark times into a bit of an opportunity. See, in my travels, I'd often pick up a book at the airport, and I picked up this book called The 4-Hour Workweek. Now, I still do not believe in the 4-hour workweek, but what I did like, it's called The 4-Hour Workweek. It's by Timothy Ferriss. I liked the concept, which was transitioning your business to be able to operate working from anywhere. And I thought, okay, that's what I'll do. I'll transition my conference and event management business so I can operate it working from anywhere. And as a crazy keen cyclist, which many of you know I am, a group of my mates and we went to France back in 2010. And one of the places we visited was the French Alps. And for some reason, I more or less fell in love with the French Alps. And I said to myself back then that one day I want to go back to the French Alps and ride my bike, ride some more of those mountains. So I decided I'd transition my business to work from anywhere, and I'd go to France for a month in 2013. So I booked my airfares. I booked an apartment in the French Alps for the month of May 2013. I packed up my bike, my bag, and my laptop, and off I went to the French Alps. Left a staff member at home, Casey, who's awesome, and off to France I went, and I was to operate my conference business from there, working with Casey on the other side of the world. I went over there, I operated my business, I had all my files in the cloud, I was able to operate my business from there. I rode my bike, I immersed myself in the small village culture. I spoke really, really poor French and still do, but nothing went wrong. I was able to successfully operate my business there for a month, my conference and event management for a month, and nothing went wrong. It went so well that I decided the following year I would go back for 2 months, and the year after I went back for 3 months. So in 2015, I went to the French Alps for 3 months and I operated my business from there, running really, really big events. It was absolutely life-changing. It not only changed the way I worked, it changed the way I lived my life. I started integrating work and life as one. It was absolutely life-changing. I'm still doing that now. But what happened from there was I'd come back from these trips and I'd see my colleagues and my friends in business, and they'd say, "Oh, Andy, you've got an awesome life." But I'd see them and notice that they were in exactly the same position that I was. They were trapped working in their businesses, deferring doing things until later, until retirement. And it really disturbed me. It disturbed me because I discovered an alternative. And as you get older, you see people that don't actually make it to retirement, or don't actually, or don't, their health isn't as good in retirement, and the things they've been deferring for, and it just disturbed me. So I decided that I wanted to help these people. I wanted to help people realize the opportunity and the alternative that I'd realized. I wanted to help them change their life. And that's where Working from Anywhere was born. And that's what brings me here today, to share that message and to help people, to help you people out there and show you there is an alternative to the way that we're meant to be living life. So that's my story. From here, I'm going to give you a little demonstration, and let's see if the tech works. Oh, wow. Yep, it's working. You should see something on the screen there. I want to demonstrate the potential difference that this lifestyle can make to your life. So I've got a bit of a graph here that I sourced. It's not a fantastic graph, but it's a health span, lifespan graph. There's 2 lines there. We're only going to use the bottom one there, which is average population. They're comparing average and master athletes. So it's more or less the same. We use that just for demonstration purposes, which has got your life here, and basically your health, unfortunately, decreases a little bit as we age. What I want to do, and let's see if this works, and let's look at what our, hopefully, yes, there it works. Awesome. So this is typically our life, and of course some of it is certainly our life. We start off with childhood, then we've got youth, and then potentially we have a family. Then we go through a period where we've got empty nest. The kids leave home. Some leave home earlier than the others, some stay on, but at some point there, the kids leave home, gives you a little bit of freedom. Then potentially you move into a period where you may have to care for aging parents. And then after that, we've got a little bit of uncertainty. We're getting a bit older. Who knows what's going to happen? Now, through that life, we start off with youth, and we might get a job, we might go into business, or in that order. And then traditionally, we've been conditioned, this is the way we live our life, that 67 now, whatever it was, 65 before, that's when we're meant to retire. And when we retire, we get an opportunity to have some freedom and do some travel and do some other things that we enjoy doing. Now, through that life, let's see if this works. Yes, it does. In youth, we may get an opportunity to travel and do some other stuff because we've got no family yet. When we travel in our youth, we don't have much money either, and potentially we're limited by time because we've got our annual leave. If we're in business, potentially some people don't even get their 4 weeks annual leave. They might be lucky to get a week off to go and do some travel. The other window of opportunity we have to travel and do the things that we love, the other things we like to do, is when we retire. When we retire, we have the freedom, we have some money from our superannuation, potentially our kids have left home, so we've got that time and opportunity to go and travel. But look at where it falls. It falls in this other window where potentially you may have to look after aging parents, and it also falls when this bit of a health span line is on the decrease. So what we've done here is we've used the best of our physical health and the best of our window here where we've got emptiness. We've used that to be working and be in business, and we're deferring the travel to that risky period, what I call a risky period, where we run into these other windows here. There is a much better way, and let's see if we've got this one to work. Yes, we got that one to work, and that is doing what I do and doing what a lot of other people do, and that is changing the way we do our business and changing. It's not just the way we do business, it's here. It's our mindset, this conditioning that we've been conditioned to over the years to start integrating work and life as one. And this, folks, is the biggest opportunity you have in life, in changing the way we think about how we live our lives. What we get to do there is we're able to make the most of this empty nesting period and this better health period and do the other things we like to do, whether it's traveling or doing other stuff, hooking up the caravan, whatever your version of the French Alps is. You get that opportunity just by changing the way you do business and changing the way you think. And the people that we will be joining this conversation, our guests on the Carpe Diem conversation show, are people that are already doing this. And why I want to bring these people onto this show to share their real life stories is I want to make it real for you people. That's why I'm doing this. There is an alternative, and I want to make this real by sharing real life stories from real live people. There you go. So that, I have to stop there because I'm, as you can see, very passionate about it, but that is my compelling reason to reconsider how we live our life. So let's take that one off. Oh, we can, there we go. There you go. You just got me again. So that's that. So where do we go from here? So this is about a conversation, and this is about bringing other people, like I said, that are already living that work-life integration life. And next week, we have our very first guest. Our very first guest is Karen Lott from Sprout Eden, which is a cafe and local produce store. She will be joining us. I worked with Karen back in 2016. She wanted to go to UK and Europe for a month. So I worked with her to transition her business. She actually went to Europe for a month and come back 2 months later. She's actually there now. So she'll be joining us from the UK. She actually left yesterday, so she's probably still traveling. She's been back every year since. She'll be joining us next week to share her story and the life-changing difference it has made to her life. And it is a conversation, so you're able to join that conversation, ask Karen questions about how she did it. Karen is going to help make this real for you people out there. Okay, that's about it. that's what happens. We'll have another guest the week after, which I'll reveal next week. What is the benefit for you joining next week and the week after and joining this conversation? Exactly that. To hear the alternative, to hear real people tell their real life story and make it real for you. That is the benefit. So I encourage you to join the conversation. Come along next week, hear Karen's story and join that conversation. Bring a friend. Don't come alone. Bring a friend that you feel needs to join this conversation. Have a watch party and let's join us. So that's it. Thank you so much for joining this conversation. Let's have a look at what questions we have here. We won't put K's up, which says, hey, hairy legs. Roger Skit says, thank you. Your passion to the mantra is infectious. Thank you so much, Roger, for your support. Courtney, got family here. I love this graph. Really cool. Thank you. And we do actually have a question from Wayne McCartney, Wayne from up in Newcastle. How would you suggest someone get started in transitioning? That's a pretty big question. The first thing I would suggest there is actually to get started, I suppose, is to actually listen to some other people and what they're doing and have it, get started by having a think about your business. The very first step in transitioning your business is making sure that your whole business is in the cloud. The whole business in the cloud gives you the opportunity to access your business from anywhere at any time on any device. So that is the absolute first step. And the next step is actually to ask for help. Don't do it alone. I've done the hard yards. I've done it on my own. And yes, I got there, but I've made a mistake. So by all means, get in touch. Happy to help you. So thanks for that question, Wayne. Jenny has made it. We've got no other questions there at this stage. If any other questions do come along, I'm happy to answer them offline, or please get in touch with me if you do have any questions. I'm happy to answer them personally. Thanks for joining us, Jenny. Okay, Sarah, hang on, she's coming late. I need a VA like now. How? Okay, get in touch and we can definitely chat about that. Part of what I do is help people work with a VA, which is a virtual assistant. But it's not that simple. You've got to set up the systems and everything in place so you can do that. And basically gives you the opportunity to not do everything in your business. So it's about letting control. So I will get in touch about that too, Kate. That's it. End of the show. I want to thank you, everyone, so much for coming along and joining this conversation. Really look forward to you joining us next week and listening to and joining Karen's lots conversation. So until then, as always, Carpe Diem, seize the day, every single day. See ya.